The stray bullet struck her right in the stomach. It pierced the skin but started to slow down as it entered her body fat. Layer by layer, the fat absorbed more of the bullet's energy, like a cushion, and by the time it hit deeper tissue, the bullet had lost most of its force, coming to a stop before hitting any organs and saving her life. The stray bullet If you shoved a baby's head into a box like this, would it grow into the shape of the cube over time? I mean, farmers do this with watermelons, which forces it into a satisfying cube shape. So why wouldn't this work on a baby? Well, a baby's head has soft gaps between bone plates, which lets the skull expand as the brain grows. And technically, their skull would start to deform, but inside a watermelon is soft fruit, which can easily fill the square mold. Bone plates, on the other hand, would cause the skull to be flattened in some spots, while other areas bulge outward. This could create extreme pressure, which the baby probably wouldn't appreciate.
My pregnant client fell and started giving birth in the courtroom, and the prosecutor yelled she was manipulating the jury. She ran up behind me while I was closing my law office for the night and tapped my shoulder. "I'm 8.5 months pregnant and my trial is tomorrow. They said they'll take my baby away. Please do something." She said she was homeless and had robbed baby formula and diapers at gunpoint. I told her, "I'll represent you." Next morning, we walked into the courthouse, and the prosecutor saw Nadia struggling to walk and immediately smiled like he'd already won. First, he showed the jury the security footage of Nadia holding the store clerk at gunpoint, asking them, "Is this the kind of woman who deserves to raise a child?" He called Nadia a criminal, a thief, and said her baby was just a convenient excuse to commit the crime. I tried showing the jury that Nadia only took things for her baby, but the prosecutor laughed. A crime is a crime. To my horror, I saw jurors actually nodding at him, and the whole time, Nadia kept clutching her belly and wincing in pain. She whispered, "I'm gonna lose you," into her belly over and over. When the jury went to decide, they came back in 20 minutes. Nadia was now doubled over next to me, and just as the judge went to bang his gavel and declare her guilty, Nadia screamed and fell backwards. "I'm giving birth!" The prosecutor yelled. "She's faking! She's trying to manipulate the jury!" But Nadia's water was already over the floor. The judge screamed, "Get an ambulance!" and paramedics burst in and loaded Nadia onto a stretcher. She grabbed my jacket and said, "You're the only one kind to me. Please don't leave." So I climbed in with her. But when we pulled up to the hospital, I saw the prosecutor pull up too, as he jumped out of his car and ran in front of us to block the entrance. The judge is about to call me and tell me Nadia is a felon. She needs to be handcuffed while she gives birth. He picked up his phone and started calling. Nadia cried, and I tried to grab his phone, but then the judge started ringing him. My heart sank, and the prosecutor answered on speaker, smiling like he'd won. But then the judge told him, the jury just changed their verdict. Seeing a homeless woman give birth over diapers made them reconsider. Nadia's ruled not guilty. The prosecutor's face fell, and that evening, I held Nadia's hand while she delivered a healthy baby girl as a free woman. Then I told her, "You're no longer homeless," and when she asked why, I held up the footage of the prosecutor blocking the door. That's one hell of a lawsuit. My pregnant client. My professor slammed his ruler on his desk. "Attention, you fail this test, and you fail my philosophy class. No excuses." He crossed his arms. "If you are caught cheating during this exam, automatic 0. You may start now." The exam hit my desk, and every question looked like a different language. I looked up to the same blank stare on every face in the room. I looked at the other pages, then put my head down, knowing I needed to cheat without knowing how. 2 rows up, a kid kept his phone open on his lap, scrolling every time the professor turned to the board, until he turned back too soon and caught him cold. "You with the phone! Automatic F, come sit in front of the class." The kid raised his hand, phone still in it, and walked to the front, sitting in full view for the rest of the exam. I started sweating, even though the AC was on, and I needed to figure something out. Behind me, another kid murmured into his collar, "Hey Siri, explain Descartes. I think, therefore, I am." His lips barely moved, and nobody looked twice. Then I saw the real move. A kid 2 seats over reading someone else's answers through his glasses, a tiny camera hidden in the lens, his head never turning. I dug a plain pair of black shades out of my bag, muttered light sensitivity as I slid them on, and angled my head enough to catch my neighbor's page in the lens. I was still good. The first test hit the table. "Once you turn it in, you stand up front until everyone's done," the professor said. Some gave up halfway and stood there anyway, pages blank, while others kept turning theirs in until every seat emptied out except mine, and I walked mine up last, shades still on. The professor glanced at them. "Those staying on, light sensitivity," I said, and went to stand with the rest. He pushed back his chair, walked to the front, and squared the stack against his desk. "This test test was never about how you did, he said, scanning the room. It was about whether you'd bend a rule to get something done, because the right call isn't the clean one. Everyone who turned it in passes. He looked at the kid with the phone. Drop the panicked face. Your acting was great. Remember, guys, the professor said, leaning against his desk. Naruto never got a fair hand, and he didn't wait around for one either. He tapped the stack of tests. Naruto said it best. If you don't like the hand fate gave you, go build a new one. My professor slammed his ruler on his desk. I was playing with my pet snake when my friend leaned over and stared at it with narrow eyes. Is it true that anacondas can choke people out? I told him yes, and he instantly leaned back in his chair and put his arms over his head. I don't think it could choke me out. I laughed, but Wesley immediately sat up. I'm serious. Let your anaconda try choke me. If it succeeds, I'll give you 200. If not, you give me the 200. Deal? I thought about whether I wanted to risk my friend's life for $200. Then I shook his hand. Deal. I carefully placed Piper around his neck. Wesley smirked. You have to be pretty weak for something with no arms to choke you out, and I've been hitting the gym. This anaconda won't do a thing to me. Piper settled around his trachea, and I told Wesley, tap out once it gets too much. But he waved his hand dismissively. What kind of loser needs a safe word for this? I'm ready whenever. Bring it on. I looked at him one more time, then gave Piper the signal. She started barely squeezing Wesley's neck, but his eyes instantly went wide. That's a lot, but I think I can hold it, he said, trying to look confident. I told him Piper wasn't even trying, and suddenly she squeezed harder. Wesley instantly gasped and tried to pull her off because his face had started turning purple. I asked, do you want to tap? But he shook his head, wheezing no, and pulling harder. I got this. Piper's muscles weren't even tensed, yet Wesley was now shaking in his chair, his veins popping as he pulled hard as he could. His face was blue, and Piper just kept squeezing. I was about to call her off anyway, when Wesley began tapping out. Get her off me, he wheezed. I snapped my fingers, and Piper instantly released, returning back to me. Wesley collapsed off the chair, holding his throat on the floor and gasping for air. He didn't have the air in his lungs to protest as I took my $200. I was playing with my pet snake.
Hold on tight with both hands and move your hips slightly forward before the first round. Then, when the mechanical bull moves forward, you move back. And when it moves backward, you move forward. You see, this technique was used by real cowboys in the Wild West. But if the operator increases the speed to the maximum, hold on tight with. Police officers enter the hotel room, shocked of what they saw. A man was folded in half in the room, trying to give himself a skibbity hop. So the police contact a pathologist, who unfolded the man and revealed it was Marilyn Manson. And the story went viral, making people protest in support of Marilyn Manson, removing their ribs and folding each other too. If crushed with a hydraulic press, how much prime could you extract? You see, prime bottles are mainly composed of water, protein, forest, and a small amount of Optimus Prime. So, if you squeeze it, you could get about 11 ounces of juice. And you can use his hairs as a broom to clean your dirt. If crushed
In bed, my boyfriend of 2 years whispered, "I love you, forever," and it melted across my tongue like warm honey because I have a medical condition where I taste every word people say, and the word forever always tasted like honey. But the next day, he whispered, "I love you, forever," and the words tasted like copper and ash, the taste I get when someone lies. My body went cold because he'd never lied to me before, and the truth was worse than I could have imagined. Then the next week, he came home past midnight. I shot out of bed. "Where were you?" He wouldn't look at me. "Don't worry about it." His phone buzzed, and he immediately flipped it face down like he was hiding something. So I looked him in the eyes and whispered, "I love you, forever," waiting for him to say it back. "I love you, forever." But the taste of copper and ash was so bad my eyes watered, worse than any lie I'd ever tasted. My heart dropped. He was hiding something huge. Days later, I heard him on the phone in the other room, his voice cracking. "I can't tell her the truth. It'll break her heart." I slid down the wall, one hand over my mouth, because now I was sure I was losing him. So I called my mom for support, whispering that I thought he was lying to me. She went quiet. "I know, sweetheart. We all do, but he has to tell you himself." So I hung up and turned to face him. "I know you're lying about us being together forever. What are you hiding?" I yelled. His hands started shaking. "I didn't know how to tell you." His eyes watered, and the words finally came out. "I have stage 4 cancer. The doctors gave me 3 weeks. The late nights were at the hospital. The secret calls were my doctors." He whispered, "We don't have forever." I couldn't breathe, so I took his face in my hands and asked the only thing I needed to know. "Do you love me?" "I love you." And it flooded my mouth with the sweetest honey I'd ever tasted. He couldn't give me forever, but his love still tasted like honey. I caught a daycare full of 3-year-olds firing banana peels at my daughter's head during pickup. I grabbed my husband's sleeve. Our daughter is being bullied. You need to get in there and handle this. He puffed out his chest and cracked his knuckles. Leave it to me. Tomorrow morning at drop-off, I'm taking those babies down. It's on. The next morning, I was at the gate when my husband carried our daughter in with his fists clenched. All I need to do is find their ringleader and have a word with him. It'll take 2 minutes, tops. An hour later, he stumbled out of the daycare with a bite mark on his cheek and one shoe missing. My eyes widened. What the hell happened? He collapsed into my arms with tears in his eyes. I walked in there and told them if they didn't leave our baby alone, I'd call their parents, and they all swarmed me at once. Their ringleader jumped on my chest, and I lost my balance. The other babies kicked me and threw banana peels at me while I was down. They're animals, honey. We need to pull our daughter out immediately. My face went cold. Where is our daughter? He went quiet and dropped his eyes to the floor. My face fell because she was still in that room, alone with the children that somehow took down a grown man. I took out my hoop earrings. Let me take care of this. I stormed up to the front door, and the daycare worker grabbed my arm. Ma'am, turn around while you can. I've lost control of them. I stepped past her, and when I got to the room, 20 babies turned towards me. The ringleader in a dinosaur onesie shoved himself up off the rug and screamed, "Get her!" The whole horde came crawling at me, but I was ready. When a baby threw a banana peel at my face, I caught it and dropped it at their feet. Everyone froze because they hadn't met an adult who could handle them yet. I walked into the middle and sat down in the tiny chair and stared the ringleader down until his lip trembled. He burst into tears and crawled into my lap. He pointed at the closet. "Release her." My daughter walked out and hugged me. "You did it, Mommy. You took down the bad guy." I turned to the ringleader. "If you ever hurt my daughter again, I'm not calling your parents. I'm taking every banana and snack in this building. Snack time will be over, forever." The entire room gasped, and I knew I'd earned their respect. As I walked out, they carried my daughter over to the special chair, peeled a banana like she was royalty, and fed it to her. I caught a daycare full of 3-year-olds